first year that we did the Family Arts Festival, which was a co-production with Pengreen Centre and the children and families of Pengreen. We took to the streets to parade in celebration of Pengreen's 40th year. And there was this glorious moment where we had a huge amount of local families being led out by Piper, piping Scotland the Brave. It was just such a magical moment watching everyone parade through these streets that they walked every day, but it was seeing it almost in a different way, and that sense of community was really palpable that day.
I think a highlight of the programme so far for me has been a collaboration we did around International Women's Day, where we held a workshop and got local women to come together. And I think for me what was special about it was not just on the day coming together, the conversations, but actually then the product of that, which was that we made a video. Women were able to share really important things to them, things that empowered them over the years, and we were able to create a film from that and then share that afterwards, which had a really lasting impact for us, I think.
Would have to be processions for me. 2018 to do with Votes for Women. A whole group of Corby women from 15 to 92 were involved, made a banner together, beautiful, beautiful community group, but also then took it to London and we're with thousands of people processing through London.
A number of years ago, before we became Made with Many, we were Made in Corby. Made in Corby and KHL Big Local collaborated and created a project called the Field Day Festival, which happened in Hazelwood Field, and it was an arts and music and a fun day, a fun 2 days actually. A real big project, and it showed me how organisations can work together. We have continued that independently for the last 6 or 7 years, so we have an annual event.
I've really enjoyed the festivals that Made with Many have done and the community involvement. They've involved the community all the way through in lots of creative different ways, volunteering and panels and decision making. It's really cool. So yeah, that, but just the pure creativity, I think it's been great to have that as part of groundwork over the last 10 years.
Well, over 10 years there's been a lot of highlights. I think the very first episode we ever did, which was the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra with Deep Roots Tall Trees at Corby Football Club, was pretty amazing. Helping out with Corby Pole Fair and making sure that it actually happened, a really legacy project.
My highlight's going to be the 3 Grow festivals. The events were incredible, spectacular. They brought people from miles around to see things that they'd never seen before in Corby.
The 2020 Grow Festival was absolutely incredible, culminating in this fantastic light show that took place outside the Cube. Museum of the Moon was in the theatre space. It was the most engagement the Corps has ever had for one single event in a week, and it was done kind of with the Made It Many team.
During that, we were walking across to an event at the Boating Lake with a guy called Willie Gilder, who's a very well-known local journalist. And Willie said, "This is magnificent, Rob. Everybody should be doing this in every town."
For me, the highlight of the programme is not so much individual activities or events, although there have been plenty that I've enjoyed very much and have been very exciting, but it's more the long-term effects of people getting to know one another, becoming confident in their choices around arts and creative activities.
The highlight of the programme for me was when I was asked to interview people who came to live in Wellingborough from different parts of the world or different parts of the country, and we just wanted to catch their story before we could no longer get those stories, and it was just fascinating listening to their experience and the contribution that they'd brought with them, to Wellingborough.
It's the engagement that Made Many have in the community, and it's the trust that the community have for the organisation. That's the bedrock of the Made It Many model. They're not there to tell people this is great art. They're there to say, look, what does it mean to you? What do you want to do?
The most important thing I've learned is about being creative with how to bring together objectives from different partners and kind of how to look at things a bit differently to achieve what you want. So we're a social landlord, and the way that we work with our customers and how we approach things is very different. But working in partnership with Made with Many has allowed us to think very differently about how we approach different things and how we collaborate, being creative with solutions to try to kind of bring joint objectives together.
I think the most important thing I've learnt whilst being here is not to underestimate the power of a good cup of tea. So many of our projects, well, I think pretty much all of our projects have started over a cup of tea and a chat. Building those relationships with our communities who are absolutely at the heart of what we do. They're the absolute fabric of what we do. And that connection is really magical, but it takes time to build. And we talk a lot about moving at the speed of trust. So often that trust is brokered over a cup of tea.
The most important thing about Made with Many is that it involves the community at every single stage. There is no point at which you're not asking the community a question. You're not asking the community, you're not listening to what the community are telling you about what their need is, what they want to see and why they want to see it. And very few organisations do that well, and Made with Many is excellent at that. And that's something I've inherited from the previous 10 years.
Working together, so each of us can do something. Together we can do much. The fact that we can put our resources, financial, human, creative resources together to make an impact for ourselves and the wider community. So working together, collaboration.
The most important thing I've learnt on this journey is how important being creative is, and to be free and explore what makes you happy in terms of creativity, to give it that time and importance, and to encourage communities to value it and get involved in it at whatever level they want to.
When I think about the impact that Made with Many has had, I think about it being really wide-ranging and far-reaching, and the different work has kind of gone into all the different corners of the community. There's something for everyone, and I think that that's something that is really, really hard to achieve, and I think takes a lot of work, a lot of listening, and a lot of being really proactive with understanding what communities' priorities are. And I think that's what I feel comes across so much with Made with Many's work, and that you can see it in the community, is that everyone can be a part of it, and that there's something different for everyone, and that everyone's voices can be heard as part of it as well.
It takes time, give yourself time. None of this stuff happens quickly. To think it's all going to happen like that is wrong, it won't. So give yourself time and allow things to develop organically.
The impact I think Made with Many has had on the community is they've really encouraged them to think creatively and explore being creative. Examples like the Kingswood and Hazel Lees Community Shed are a great example of encouraging communities to explore creativity and see where it can go. That is an amazing project now that Made with Many were a big part of supporting, and we were, and the community in that area. So that's had a huge impact, and it's shown exactly what we can do if you encourage people to explore and be confident around being creative.
I think for the people who've been able to engage with it, there's a growth in confidence. If somebody tries something a little bit tentatively to begin with, if they take a chance and a risk and it goes well, then obviously the next time it's going to be far easier for them to say, yeah, that was fab, I'm going to do that again, and go further, take greater steps in a personal journey, if you like, and I think that can be translated to communities as a whole.
For me, the most positive impact is that affects individuals. Jason Wilshire Mills, a renowned disabled artist who came here and worked with Teamwork Trust, a bunch of people who have learning difficulties. And not only did that improve their lives, but it made Jason change the way he approached his own art. So I think those human impacts are the ones that really stay with me.
I would like to think that our impact is further reaching than we can ever imagine. We talk a lot about the ripple effect of our work, and we never know how much, one conversation with one particular member of the community will then ripple out, and what will come of that.
Made with Many is arts and culture, and I tend to err towards the cultural side of things. They'll put on cultural events for the Windrush, for instance, or Black History, or an Africa Day. All those, are really important to me, and Made with Many makes that happen.
Made with Many might be 10 years old in Corby, and it's 5 years old in Wellingborough. And it came into Wellingborough in lockdown. And the difference that it made to people in lockdown in Wellingborough was phenomenal. You really saw the packs going out, the information being shared, the online activities. You really saw the difference it made in Wellingborough for that. So I think that for me would be the key.
Corby really has benefited from having arts organisations invested in. You can kind of see it in the willingness for community members to get involved in things where they might not have previously.
It's been brilliant to meet other volunteers and to find out why they volunteer, and to see people who aren't necessarily at full fitness being valued and supported to be volunteers, to be a part of that community and to be recognised as being critical to the process.
I think one of the clearest example of the impact of the work that we've done is in the man himself, George Hill. Watching his development, not only as a community leader, volunteer, but also artist in his own right, has been the biggest privilege over the last few years.
It feels like an established organisation giving opportunity for people to do art in its broadest sense. It supported me in being okay with being an artist, because I come from a background where I kind of felt that was a bit, but now I'm much more comfortable with being able to say I'm an artist.
What I hope is that we exist as a catalyst for the new and for the exciting, and that communities feel like they can rely on us, and we're a trusted partner in everything that they want to achieve.